You know, in the old courts of kings and even in the corners of our own minds, there's always been this one timeless figure, the jester. We think we know him, right? The bells, the grin, the quick wit. But today, we're going to peel back that mask. This is a parable, a story about a character walking a tightrope between pure, ecstatic joy and the absolute darkest despair. A figure whose laughter, it turns out, carries the weight of a hidden truth.
And this really gets to the heart of our story. It's the central question of the whole parable. Is all that joking around just an escape, a frantic performance to distract us from how heavy reality can be? Or could it actually be a bridge to reality, a way to understand it, to wrestle with it, and maybe, just maybe, even transform it? This is the jester's dilemma, and you know what? It's ours too.
So, we start with the jester in his first form. Let's call this the stage of the hollow laugh. His wit is sharp as a blade, his jokes are a blur, but there's nothing behind them. His humor is just a shield, a performance put on to deflect the crushing seriousness of the world. He's dancing, sure, but it's this frantic, desperate dance right on the edge of an abyss, that void of nihilism, where one wrong step sends you tumbling into total meaninglessness.
Okay, let's break this down. This chart really lays out the two paths our jester can take. On one side, you've got the hollow jester. His mockery is just a knee-jerk reaction. His humor is superficial, it's all about escape. And the key thing here, he is always running away from suffering. But on the other side, that's the goal, the integrated jester. Here, play becomes something sacred. Humor isn't escapist anymore. It's grounded, it resonates, and it's anchored by the very reality the other guy runs from. This is the roadmap for the journey we're about to watch.
So how does the jester get from one side to the other? Well, the journey begins when he stops floating and finally confronts something he spent his entire life avoiding, the anchor of gravity. This force, which a philosopher like Nietzsche would call the spirit of gravity, isn't some enemy he needs to defeat. It's the very thing that can save him from drifting off into the void. To become whole, he has to find some weight in his weightless world.
So what exactly is this spirit of gravity? Well, it's the unavoidable weight of being human. All the suffering, the loss, our own mortality, it's everything that makes life serious. For the hollow jester, this is absolutely terrifying. But for the integrated jester, it becomes his anchor. And here's the paradox at the heart of it all. It's only by accepting this profound seriousness that the jester earns the right to joke about things that actually matter. His laughter isn't empty anymore because it's tied to the heaviest truths.
Think about it like a dancer. Without the pull of gravity, without the friction of the floor beneath their feet, a leap has no power. It's just flailing around in the air. Gravity is the resistance that makes grace and control and beauty even possible. It's exactly the same for our jester. Without gravity, his dance is just noise and chaos. But with gravity, his performance suddenly has real impact. The weight of reality is the very thing that gives his humor meaning. But just knowing this, just understanding the idea of gravity, that's not enough. And this brings us to the real turning point of the story. The jester has to go on a journey inward, into what some would call his shadow, that place where we stuff all our repressed fears and pain. He has to finally stop running and turn around to face the monstrous thing that's been causing all his anxiety in the first place.
And what does he find waiting for him in that shadow? A figure the parable calls the ugliest man. Now, this isn't a literal person. It's the embodiment of everything the jester has shoved down into the dark. His shame, his despair, his deepest feelings of not being good enough. It is all that raw, concentrated suffering that he's been trying to laugh away for years. It's the silent, screaming truth behind every single one of his hollow punchlines. And right here, this is the secret. This is the alchemical trick that transforms the jester. He doesn't defeat the ugliest man, he integrates him. His entire relationship with his own suffering changes. He learns to laugh with his pain, instead of just laughing at it. See, laughing at your pain keeps it at a distance, like an enemy you're mocking. But laughing with it, that means you're acknowledging it's a part of you. You're understanding its rhythm, its reasons. That is the huge difference between running away and becoming whole.
And this process of integration, it follows a pretty clear path. First, he has to acknowledge the shadow, which just means he stops running. Second, he has to invite the pain in. He consciously turns and faces that ugliest man. And third, and this is the most important step, he integrates that ugliness, accepting the shadow as a part of himself. And the result? He's transformed. His laughter isn't a fragile mask anymore. It's a powerful expression of his entire self, the joy and the pain, all of it together. This is exactly what keeps the spirit of gravity from being a crushing weight. It's now the foundation of his strength. So now that our jester is whole, his relationship with reality has completely changed. He can go back to the edge of the abyss, the place that used to terrify him, but now he sees it with totally new eyes. He's not just dancing to distract himself anymore. Now he's dancing to create. That abyss, that huge, terrifying void of potential meaninglessness, it's not a source of terror anymore. It's become a stage. The jester now understands this incredible Nietzschean truth. Life might not have some big inherent meaning handed to us, but that emptiness isn't a curse. It's a canvas. The very act of playing, of creating, of laughing with gravity, that is what creates purpose. He beats nihilism not by finding meaning, but by forging it himself. He can now live out this really provocative idea: seriousness is a symptom of a malfunction. Now, this doesn't mean that nothing is serious. It means that being paralyzed by seriousness, letting that spirit of gravity crush you so you can't act, that is the malfunction of a healthy spirit. The integrated jester carries the weight of gravity, but he isn't chained down by it. He uses its weight for creative tension, like how a guitar string has to be taut to make music. He refuses to let the stakes of life destroy his ability to play.
And this image, it just captures his new power perfectly. The heaviest burdens, that anchor of gravity, the sands of time, the mask of tragedy, they aren't things to run away from anymore. They become things to juggle, props in this grand cosmic drama that he's now a willing participant in. He can stay light on his feet, keep that playful spirit, all while standing firmly in the middle of the world's most difficult truths. For the very first time, he is fully present. Okay, so we've seen the jester's internal transformation. But what's the result on the outside? The parable wraps up by revealing his new purpose. His laughter, now that it's grounded and meaningful, is no longer just a private defense mechanism. It has become a tool with a mission. He becomes what the parable calls a tragic philosopher. He wears the comic mask of joy, but underneath, you find the deep wisdom of someone who has stared right into the abyss and didn't flinch. But he's more than just a guide. He's an uncanny jester, a kind of distorted mirror for society. His humor is no longer his personal shield. It's a public tool, a way to reflect civilization's own decaying morality and repressed instincts right back in its own face. And this wisdom isn't some quiet, passive thing. It's active, and it's unsettling. To dismantle illusions, he might become the truth-telling monster, the one who laughs at a tragedy, mirroring the cold indifference of nature that our moral outrage tries to cover up. To mock the spirit of gravity and others, he becomes the gilded satirist, amplifying the greed of the rich until they're forced to see themselves as grotesque parasites. He embodies that Dionysian wisdom of saying yes to all of life, including the messy, animalistic parts we pretend we've outgrown. He proves that the most uncomfortable reflections are often the ones that lead to the most radical freedom. And this brings us to the ultimate takeaway from our whole parable. The highest wisdom isn't found in some solemn, serious book or in a shallow, hollow joke. It's found where they meet, in a joke told with the full weight of gravity. That is the profound genius of the integrated jester.
And so, the parable ends by turning that mirror away from the jester and pointing it right at us. His journey from a hollow performer to a whole person isn't just a fairy tale, it's a map. And it leaves us with this question to carry around. What gravity in your own life have you been avoiding? What ugliest man in your own shadow have you been running from? And what weight, if you finally found the courage to lift it, could make your own joy, your own laughter, not just lighter, but infinitely more meaningful?